their attitude is they're over it. They're over the whole. They're over the whole process of trying to get their money to you know what I mean, to balance, to hedge their money. And the best way to hedge their money is in a new asset class. Because why? Because the asset class is not just pennies on the dollar. Listen very carefully. There are tons of digital assets. There's over 7,000, maybe 12 or 15,000 different digital assets that we're talking about 20-something trillion dollars worth of assets tied up in the stock market and other places, and the global remittance. And global remittance. That means money going from here to there between banks. And on top of that, when you let me just say this, when you factor in all of the global assets combined, it's somewhere between, I think, 4 or 7.3. What is it? Is it gazillion? Is it gazillion? Quadrillion dollars. That's like 1,000. That's like 1,000 trillions, or over 1,000 trillions. You know, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Last time I looked, but my point is that they're going to move all that money into this space. So they're going to move all those assets into this space while simultaneously having to wipe the debt. The reason they'll be doing this, listen very carefully, the reason why they're going to do this is because they don't want to be poor either. They keep talking about the Great Reset. They're going to do it no matter what, but now they have a means to do it through cryptocurrencies. And they're sitting here telling you Bitcoin, you know, or Ethereum. And what they're not telling you is that they're the one cryptocurrency that really matters on a global level that will replace all other global currencies as the intermediary fiduciary or liquidity asset is XRP. It's XRP, plain and simple. I kid you not. We're talking about something that's only worth about, how much is it worth right now? Give me a second. Just give me 1 second. It will literally cost them, listen to this, 61 cents to buy this asset. And when they're done, they're going to make this asset easily. Listen, within the next 2 years, this asset is going to be $100,000 a piece. And some people say, well, what about Bitcoin? Don't worry, it'll probably be $2 million a piece. Or I'm sorry. What is it? Yeah, they're going to sell you the XRP at $100,000, but the Bitcoin will probably be maybe $10 million by then. So it won't even matter. It won't even matter. But here's what's funny, is that there's other digital assets within the digital cryptographic asset space, listen very carefully, that are not $1. They're not, 10, 50, 80, 90 cents. They're not 10 cents, 5 cents, right? They're not 1 cent. They're 4 decimals past they're 4 zeros past the decimal to the right. And they're going to buy, billions of dollars worth of that stuff. And it'll be worth, they'll buy hundreds of millions of dollars worth of that stuff. And then that'll cause it to become worth tens of trillions of dollars. So you right now and your family have a great opportunity to buy into this. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. If you don't want to do any of the things I'm telling you, that's okay. That is okay. I'm not going to judge you. I won't look funny at you. I don't even know you enough to care. But what I do know is that if you don't step into the opportunity that's in front of you, it will get ugly for you when you suddenly realize, well, what do I have of value? Because your house is going to tank. Because they're dropping all those bonds. I'm telling you, they're going to drop all those bonds. And the funny part is that right now they're rushing. They're rushing to buy up all these assets. And the sad part is that some of them can't even buy it up because they haven't received any guidance from the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they don't want to get fined. So they're just kind of taking their time, but ultimately what's coming down the pipe is the fact that, After the 12th is when they push Spark token drop, actually on the 12th. And when that happens, the price of XRP is going to spike, but they're going to tamp it down. And then after that, the next thing that's going to happen is now, from that day moving forward, they have to talk about the certifications for the election. That's going to cause the price to spike again. And by then, they should already have come to the table and said, yeah, we're going to do this with the next stimulus. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But I know this much. By January the 20th at the latest, maybe even the 24th, maybe even February 1st, they're going to say something. They're going to say something. And after they say whatever that something is, you can forget the price of any of this stuff being cheaper than $100. But it's pennies, and some of it is fractions of a penny. But I can tell you the one that's going to make your family the most money, that will be the easiest to acquire, is going to be XRP. It's 61 cents right now. Now here's something to think about. I'm going to read you guys something real quick. So the max supply of Bitcoin at the moment is 21 million, and there's only about 18 million circulating. However, the market cap for Bitcoin right now is 357 million. 357. By the way, that's billion. Excuse me. That's billion. There's 357 billion, dollars invested into Bitcoin right now. And in the last 24 hours, people have spent $21 billion on it. Now, let me just slide over here and I'll read you something else so I can help you make sense of what I'm really trying to say next, which is, currently XRP's market cap, the amount of money that's being spent on XRP, is $27 billion. In the last 24 hours, $6 billion was spent on it. There's a max supply of XRP that is 100 billion. Now, here's something to think about. XRP only has about, how many zeros does it have? XRP only has about 4 or 5 zeros to the right of the decimal. Here's the thing. Unlike Bitcoin, XRP can do up to about 50,000 transactions a second. Bitcoin can only do about a maximum of 30 a second. A maximum of 30 transactions a second. It takes in fact, it's so bad, listen to this, it's so bad that Bitcoin as a commodity is more of a shell game in waiting for other people to free up Bitcoin. Here's the problem with Bitcoin. There's someone physically okaying the transactions. Did you know that? There's a miner that has to agree that your transaction of you buying or selling Bitcoin was good. And they don't have, listen to this, they don't have to okay every single transaction right away. Anyway, I digress. My point is, XRP is the one that's been chosen by pretty much every government, every bank, and you're like, oh, but aren't these the same bad people? It's like, listen, they're going to do whatever they want to do. My point is, set up a Coinbase account, buy some XRP or some Stellar or some Algorand. Listen, those are going to make your family a ton of money. But more than anything, the XRP, that will make, listen to this. Let me just say this one time. If you've got money locked up in your 401k right now, yank it all out, take the hit, buy the XRP, buy the Stellar. I would only spend 20% of my money on Bitcoin and just sit back and watch what happens. Just sit back and watch what happens. Literally within the next 2 months, you will see your retirement fund explode into your great-great-great-grandchildren's retirement fund. Now, listen, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have my Series 7 or Series 6. I believe also my Series 8 or 50-something license, so I can't give you any financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I've been here before. I was there when Bitcoin was only like 3 cents, 12 cents, 30 cents, a quarter. $10, $30, and I still could have bought about 100 of them. And I didn't do it. And I listened to my ex-girlfriend at the time, who, when I found out much later, realistically, she wasn't trying to help me. She just didn't want me to be better than her in her mind. And I'm like, that was so weird. You doomed us both to being poor. Or at least you doomed herself. But my point is that they're going to change the money system over next year, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter who the president is next year, whether you like it or not. They're going to do it. And the crazy part is if Kamala Harris can't... Let me say this. Let's say we end up in an alternate dimension, and I know God's not going to do that. But if we woke up and hypothetically, in the most dark, unwanted way, we wake up and Joe Biden's our president. Joe Biden says anything contrary to what the world governments want with this new thing, Joe Biden's going to disappear. And if Kamala Harris acts like she doesn't know what time it is, so will she. So will she. Nancy can't get with they'll just keep going down the line. They will just keep going down the line. Because ultimately what's going on here is that the very fabric of control is about to disintegrate if the money goes poof. And they've already kind of realized, I think we built a bridge too far. And now they're in this situation where you have people like Maxine Waters and Talib, both complete garbage human beings, worthless, basically running around saying, oh, you can't issue stable coins. I'm like, that doesn't sound like an idea you came up with. That sounds like an idea someone told you not to do. And ultimately, the Comptroller of Currency came out and flat out said, yeah, we're not doing that. And that lets me know that the Comptroller of Currency knows it doesn't matter who the next president is. There's something happening, and everybody is going to do it. It's one of those moments where it's like, okay, we're in a room and we're trying to kill each other. We're enemies, but we have to figure out a way to fix this problem. Otherwise, we're both going to die, and we'll go back to fighting later. That's basically what's happening with the money situation. So they're talking, oh, we got to use COVID as this great opportunity to kickstart the Great Reset. Let them ruin their own countries. Because as far as I know, in America, we're the only ones that are going to benefit in the long run, because most of these people have bent over hard for China. They've sold off too many of their assets. They don't have a functional enough mindset none of them have guns. Okay? They're not getting their governments back until they completely collapse. They've lost everything and they have no shame left, and they're willing to go take it back. But ultimately, we are in a situation where, we can take ours back, but it's not just that we can take ours back. We're not going to lose it. Let me just say this. Joe Biden, he's not going to be up in there. Neither is Kamala or any of those other rats. And ultimately, what we're looking at is that it's clear to me that the Trump administration plans to keep power by force, and they have the legal constitutional right to do so. And if you've never read the Constitution, then I don't have to have the conversation with you of why I see that happening. He's already set up the legal framework for it, so it doesn't matter to me. But I think he's just saying, hey, I used all of my legal recourses to try to correct the problem, and when they decided that they were going to be corrupt and usurp our Constitution and the public will, I decided to do this way. And, oh, look, I have a legal right in the Constitution, and I have an executive order, and I have all these other cases like, what is the 1878 Insurrection Law or 87 Insurrection Act, something to that effect, 1871 Insurrection Act of 74. So he's going to be fine, but getting back to the money. So at this point, we don't need to worry about how stupid these politicians are. We need to be focused on what are we going to do in our individual realities to insulate ourselves from all. Because like I said, there's something worse coming after COVID. They're going to kill the money. So the only way to protect yourself is to shift over. And when I say kill the money, I mean all of a sudden everything is just astronomically expensive. Loaf of bread, $40. Like what? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Loaf of bread, $100. You know what I mean? Just insanity. Gasoline, $40 a gallon. Like what? So rather than having to deal